this was my dream. So it happened on Christmas. I want to say Christmas night. It was actually the 26th, but it was like 4 o'clock in the morning after Christmas. And it was like I said, it was a very, very powerful dream. And as soon as I woke up, my wife was still up. For some reason she couldn't sleep. She was reading on her Kindle. And I took my phone and I just started writing everything down so I don't forget anything. So this was my dream. There was a huge planet in the sky. It was like 5 times the size of a full moon. The planet appeared around a day or two ago, and it remained in the same spot in the sky. The odd thing was that, in spite of this amazing sight, it seemed like the whole world was going about life, unfazed by it. Somehow, I remember that my church was planning for a trip that we were going on. Weird things were happening in the sky. Some people still paid no attention to these things. They were busy about their day. And I found it odd that, like, all of a sudden in that dream, it's like my church was planning a trip. So anyways, let me continue my dream here. The planet continued to appear in the sky. The next day, me, my wife, my sister-in-law, and my niece were all in the kitchen in my house. And I asked my wife if she wants to go on our church trip with us. And she says, no, I'm good. I walked to the sliding doors in my kitchen that leads to my deck. My house I have a double sliding door, and I have a double deck actually attached to my house. And but the weird thing about the stream is that the doors led to the deck, but the top deck was missing. It was only my deck, my first floor deck. So let me continue. So I walked to the sliding doors in my kitchen that lead to my deck. It's a gorgeous spring day out. The sky is perfect blue. There are just a few beautiful puffy white clouds in the sky. My deck has a couple of small water spots. It must have rained earlier. I look up towards the sky, and to my left, just past the tree in my neighbor's house, I can still see this huge planet in the sky. It has a grayish look to it. I asked my niece if she's seen the planet. She says she hasn't. I tell her to come look how big and beautiful it is. We step out on my deck. As we are taking in this amazing sight, we can see a figure moving in the sky directly above us. It was an angel. He was beautiful. He had long white hair, a long white robe, one like I've never seen before. He had these beautiful white wings that were stretched out. His face was so beautiful that I can't even find words to describe how beautiful this being was. He wasn't huge, and he wasn't flying way up high in the sky. He was low enough where we can clearly see his face. He wasn't flying across the sky, but floating. He was floating across the sky. I call out to him, asking him who he was. And he looks down to me and says, I am coming back in a couple of months. And that's all he said, and continued to float away. By this point, my wife had joined us on the deck. She and my niece are just in awe of what they just witnessed, and were commenting on how cool it was. Me, as soon as the angel said that he was coming back in a couple of months, I just dropped to my knees, bowed my head, and began to sob like a baby. Not out of fear, but out of utter joy, because I knew what it meant that he was coming back in a few months. As I finally get the strength to compose myself and get back up, I walk back to my kitchen where my wife, my sister-in-law, and my niece are. They are discussing amongst themselves what could this have meant, what they just saw, and what the angels said. I looked, and in my niece's hands, she's holding a Bible, and it's open to the book of Exodus. The word Exodus was really, really big in her Bible. She had it open. It was huge. My niece looks at me and sees me staring at her Bible and says to me, I'm reading the book of Exodus. To which I say, there's your answer as to what the angel meant. In Exodus, Moses goes from Egypt to the wilderness, but God sends him back to bring his people out of Egypt. He parted the Red Sea and brought them through it. That is what he's going to do in a couple of months. He's coming back to take God's people out of this world. After I said this, my daughter walked into the kitchen and I said to her, Alyssa, we just witnessed the most beautiful thing anyone could ever witness. And then I woke up.
John 3 verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.